Ooh, hello hyperspace, my name is Davontos and it's time to get hyped because Davontos is back on the mic after all this time. And I actually wanted to come on and make a really quick Overwatch video because in a couple of weeks Overwatch is going to change, probably forever, and it's probably going to be for the better. And we're going to have 2-2-2 row queue, which is basically there's, 6 people on the team, 2-4-6, 3-2s, and you get to select if you want to be a tank or a DPS or a healer, and you get to select before you hop into a lobby for a more organized game. That way you won't have games full of tanks or games full of DPS and stuff like that. It will be more organized and you'll have a better chance of winning. So you can have like a Reinhardt and a Diva for your 2 tanks. You can have like a Zen and a Mercy for your 2 healers. Like a Soldier and a Junkrat for your 2 DPS. It's simple, it's very strategic, and it should help the community build better teams for those bad players that don't know how. So I actually wanted to touch on that, about this 2-2-2 row queue thing. So as I said, you're going to have 3 categories to choose from, and the way the community sees it is going to be like this. You're going to have your category for tanks, which, well, play tank, and then you're going to have your category for DPS, which play DPS. Then you're going to have your category for healers, which play DPS. So, the healers heal. Amazing, I know. They're really good at it. Especially Moira. Moira is probably one of the best, if not the best, healer in Overwatch. Her healing is so powerful, especially in group heals, because she can toss the orbs and she can spray the mist, and it just does a ton of healing. On top of Coalescence, it does just as much, well, at least half as much healing as Zenyatta's Coalescence. Zenyatta's Transcendence. I'm getting confused between those two. Transcendence heals 300 health a second. Moira's Coalescence does, I believe, anywhere from 120 to 150. It's roughly about half of Transcendence, and it's a very, very powerful ultimate. And I play a ton of tank and a ton of healer. Moira is actually my best healer, followed by Zenyatta. I don't really play solid DPS roles like Soldier 76 and McCree. If I were to take somebody from DPS, I would take somebody who would play a support DPS role, like Support Fire. I would take Torbjorn. I would take Mei. I would take Sombra. Somebody who's not really so much about getting kills as it is helping your team coordinate and get the victory. I hardly ever play Soldier 76. I used to play a ton of Bastion, but not anymore. I'm always playing tank and healer. So, I want to talk about Moira, because she's a topic that a lot of people just don't really understand. They don't know how powerful she is. And let me actually show you in the training room. But actually, before we get to the training room, let me actually put you guys in a situation that we can all understand. Let's take a popular Overwatch hero that's popular in the community. That would be Diva and Genji. Let's use Genji. Everybody knows Genji. So, let's say, for example, you're a really good Genji. Maybe you're a Diamond Genji, you're a Masters Genji, who knows, you're just a really good Genji. And then you just happen to play, I don't know, competitive or quick play, whatever you're playing, and somebody beats you to Genji. They take Genji first, right? And you just happen to take whoever else you like. And then you're just watching this guy play Genji. And you just can't help but cringe on how bad of a Genji he is. He starts diving the Winstons, and he gets electrocuted and gets killed. And then he sees Symmetra building her nest of turrets, and then he still decides to pop his Genji blade and dive to Symmetra and get lasered to death, and then he gets pissed on the mic and says, "How come nobody's healing me?" You just cringe at just how bad he is, because he's making so many terrible decisions. It's the same thing for Diva. I'm a really good Diva, and I just cringe when I see these Diva players targeting Mei and targeting full power Zaryas. I was like, why? But anyway, that's the situation I want to get. Because a lot of people play DPS Moira, and she's not a DPS. She is a terrible DPS. Now let's actually go into the training room, and I'm going to show you how bad of a DPS she really is. Look at this. A lot of people play Moira the way they play Winston. They jump in there, they tag somebody, they try to get a kill, and then they teleport out, or in Winston's case, jump out. Look at this. Look how weak the energy drain is. Look at this. Look at the robot's health at the top. Now, people pop Coalescence and think it's super powerful because it's like an ultimate Kamehameha. But when you look at it, it's the exact same thing. So people pop Coalescence, and then they start targeting the enemies like if it's some controllable Dragon Strike, and it just doesn't work. It's the same thing as if you drained their energy normally. As a matter of fact, look at this. Combining the orb with the energy drain does more damage than a Coalescence. And I see this all the time. People take Moira and they pop Coalescence like, as I said, some kind of controllable Kamehameha Dragon Strike, and they start lasering down the enemies, thinking it's going to get them tons of kills, but all it is literally increased range from your energy drain. Let me actually show you all these other people who can do the same thing. We're going to start with Winston. Now, these robots have 200 health. Look at how slow the energy drains from a 200 health character. This was basically if you're tagging a McCree or tagging a soldier, right? Now let's go back and take somebody who should be playing a dive energy drain hero, Winston. Look how fast Winston drains out your health. It's exactly the same thing, just like Moira. But the cool thing about Winston is he can target more than one person, he's a tank, and he has a barrier. And the team doesn't rely on him for, you know, a lot of heals. Look at this. You got one enemy, you got two enemies. This is something that Moira can't do. You have to do the same amount of damage, but Winston can target multiple enemies to do more damage than Moira. Now, let's actually go through a couple of laser beam-like heroes. You know, like Moira's technically a laser beam because D.Va can't eat the energy drain. Let's go on to Mei. Look how fast it is for Mei to get the kill. Now, Mei is another one of those laser beam characters. Frozen, and done. We got the kill. That was quick. So let's actually go on to other laser beam characters who can probably be similar to Moira on the damage output. Symmetra. Look at this. It's actually faster than Moira. Symmetra can tag somebody with her laser beam at level 1 and get a kill faster than Moira can. Now, how about a very weak Zarya? Very weak, 0 charge. She gets to kill faster than Moira. You see this? Now, we're gonna go even deeper. Let's see, what can we do? I want to show you how weak Symmetra's energy drain is. One turret. It's just as strong as Moira's energy drain. So when you dive in there and you start popping coalescence on enemies and all that, you're literally doing the equivalent amount of damage as one Symmetra turret. See? It's the exact same thing. So your coalescence is just a Symmetra turret. One Symmetra turret. Instead of healing your team and giving them 120 or 150 health a second, or instead of, you know, spraying your mist on the team to heal them, you just decide to be one mobile Symmetra turret, which is not a threat at all. And I'm pretty sure we all know that because one Symmetra turret, you can just look at it and it gets killed. It's not a threat. Let's actually look at Mercy. Probably the most vulnerable character if it wasn't for her Guardian Angel. Her pistol kills faster than Moira's energy drain, so you have a better chance of getting kills with Mercy than you do with Moira. And that's what I don't understand. Let's look at Lucio. Lucio's gun's also very, very weak, assuming you're not popping headshots. So let's pop body shots. Look at this. He still kills faster than Moira. So why does everybody want to be a DPS Moira? Look at Zen. Zen's like my second best character, and he's actually a very powerful healer healer when it comes down to DPS. Look at this. That's just one robot, charged a shot and it's like an instant delete. He's very powerful, so if you want to play a DPS healer, I would suggest doing Zen, or Brigitte so you can help out the Reinhardt, because Brigitte and Reinhardt's very powerful, and granted, her little swings aren't that strong, but she has a lot in her arsenal to offer, a lot of damage and a lot of support. But if you actually want to play ranged DPS, and you don't feel like playing Zenyatta, you can pop in this dude, Baptiste. He's surprisingly powerful. Look at this. It's almost like a Soldier 76. Almost. So instead of playing DPS Moira, play DPS Baptiste and heal from time to time, or a DPS Zen. At least your Transcendence would be very powerful and you wouldn't waste it on the enemies. Even Ana gets kills faster than Moira. This is why I don't understand why there are so many people who play Moira and just use her as a DPS. So you are literally better off playing any other healer as a DPS except for Moira, because Moira's damage output is terrible. You have to combine her damage output with one of the orbs just to be as effective as a Zenyatta or a Baptiste, and those guys aren't even DPS. So I don't know why the Moiras are trying to compete with the real DPSs like McCrees and Soldiers. And I know one common argument that a lot of people are going to say, oh, you don't have to aim with Moira, so it makes it easier. Well, Overwatch is a shooter game, and if you have a problem with aiming in a shooter game, then you probably shouldn't be playing the shooter game. So let's actually have a really quick overview on how you should be using Moira. Let's start off with the energy drain, which is the one thing that everybody loves to use. So with the energy drain, you should use it in these 3 circumstances. Number 1, if you gotta refill your healing spray. I'm not saying refill it all the way, don't tag that one enemy until you're fully, filled to the brim with heals. It's okay to keep your healing meter filled, maybe half, maybe a quarter of the way, it's fine. If you know how to juggle her abilities perfectly, then you'll be a really, really good Moira. Really good Moiras can actually heal a lot from just half of the healing meter. You don't have to fill it up all the way. Another situation which you can use her energy drain is if you're dived and nobody's dealing with the diving hero. Let's say, for example, Genji. Genji can beat all the healers by diving on them, except for Moira, because, well, Moira's weapon works the same way Winston's weapon works. It's a laser beam, and Genji sucks against laser beams. So, if Genji dives you, and nobody's taking care of Genji, and then you take care of Genji and beat him, because Genji can't beat Moira. And another case in which you can use her energy drain is if you just see that one enemy that's super weak, and your team don't see him, and he's gonna die by like maybe 2 or 3 hits, then yeah, go kill him. Other than that, there's not really a point in playing a DPS Moira. Now for her orbs. When nobody needs heals, then you're free to throw a damage orb towards the enemies and do some cheeky, cheap little damage. When it comes down to your healing orb, when everybody needs healing and they're grouped up, throw a healing orb and combine it with the spray. You'll fill up their health ridiculously quick. And finally, Coalescence. Coalescence should primarily be used for only 2 things. Number 1 is to heal your team. Number 2 is for a push. You can use Coalescence the same way you can use Transcendence. You can pop the ult, and you can force the team to move forward because they're getting all these heals. So Coalescence and Transcendence are kind of used the same way. The only thing is Zenyatta's in the team to push forward, while Moira's behind the team and they go up by themselves. You should never, ever pop Coalescence and dive in there like a Winston and start lasering the enemies, because I've just shown you in this video, and I'm replaying the same thing twice so you can see it twice. You see how weak Coalescence is. So if you feel like being one mobile Symmetra turret and throwing the game and wasting your ult just to tickle the enemies, and you just beam Roadhog and you count how many hours it takes for him to finally die from it, then feel free and throw the game that way. But Moira should never have to use Coalescence as a diving technique. The only time Coalescence should be damaging enemies is if an enemy gets in the way of your laser beam and they take damage, if you're laser beaming your team for heals and there happens to be enemies in the way of it as your team pushes forward, or if, let's say, you're laser beaming your team and you happen to see that one super weak Hanzo in the distance and your team don't see him, then feel free to just like turn your wrist a little bit, get the quick kill on Hanzo, and then go back to your team. Don't use Moira as a DPS. You've seen it in this video. I replayed it twice for you guys so you guys can see just how pointless it is to use her as a DPS. So if you like this video, punch that like button with a mighty force. You can follow me up on Twitter at Davontos, man. And as always, I'll see all of you in the next video. Now let's keep this playing so you guys can get a good look at it. And have a nice day.